Another tag video, Jason. What is going on? You never do these videos. I know. I've been backed up on tag videos because I've been tagged a couple times, and this is I think this is the last one I haven't responded to. And this is the book snob tag. And I was tagged by, and I see the irony here, Britton, because I think you kind of think I'm a snobby reader. But I was tagged by some okie dude. So I'm going to respond to these 10 questions, but I'm going to put a little bit of a twist on this. I'm going to add an 11th question. And this 11th question, I was assuming it was going to be on here, but it wasn't. I don't know why it was omitted because it seems perfect. And you're going to have to stick around till the end to see question 11, or, you can just probably check the chapter selection. So question 1, what is your definition of book snobbery? Well, of course, it's when, maybe you're recommended something and you turn your nose up to it because you're too good. That work is not worth your time because you are a better person. You're a better reader. You're more sophisticated, maybe. However, I will add that you can be a book snob the other way around as well. So let's say you are a reader who only reads popular fiction, bestsellers, mainstream stuff, and you're not going to read Moby Dick. You're not going to read any classic. You're not going to read any of that highbrow stuff. Because why would you waste your time on that? So I think a lot of people typically designate book snobbery to more of the highbrow crowd versus the mainstream crowd who will not read highbrow stuff. So I think the snobbery can go both ways, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Okay, question 2. Is there a genre type you would never consider reading? Well, being here on BookTube, being a book reviewer like I am, I've been exposed to I think almost every major genre and major subgenre. I'm sure I'm missing some, but anyway, no. Now, me personally, if I wasn't making videos and building a cool community and having viewers and all that who suggest stuff for me to read, I would probably say like the trashy romance. I have read it. I've read It Ends With Us. So there you go, right? And actually I kind of enjoyed it a little bit. It was better than I thought it was going to be. So there you go, right? I was wrong. But I would say that those kind of books are romantasy, even though, again, I've read one of those. So this answer I'm giving you is not really worth that much. The answer for me personally is probably like romantasy. Oh, young adult's another one that I can't stand, but I will read them if recommended them, or if I always do a poll every month where people pick the final book I read, and if they did vote for a young adult one, I would totally read it. Hell, I'm reading Dungeon Crawler Carl right now, so there you go. All right, question number 3. Does erotica count as literature? That's an interesting question. I would say some of it, yes. Funny enough, way back when I first was looking into self-publishing, I was part of this little online forum community of self-published writers, and I followed this one guy who he wrote erotica. I only read one of his short stories, and it was pretty good. I know what you're thinking. Not that way, but it did have a depth to it. It had like a subtextual aspect to it that really was deeper than just dirty sex, right? I think that's what we always think about when it comes to erotica, but I was pleasantly surprised that there was some character depth. It just had some oomph to it, right? There was something lurking beneath the surface. And so, yeah, I would say in some cases it can be considered literature. Okay, question 4. Is it better to read classics than bestsellers? No, I respect the classics, okay? There's some classics I love, but many classics are just so goddamn outdated. The prose is weak, the characterization sucks, the pacing sucks, and granted, I understand why. It's because mediums, the way we write things and create things changes over time, right? And so what I'm getting at is sometimes it's hard for me to go back and read these things. Heart of Darkness, I'm looking at you because it's so painful to read these things because of the way they are constructed. So I'm going to say, no, it's not better. I think you should give them a try. I don't think you should avoid any kind of fiction based on the time period unless you just can't get through it at all for whatever reason. But no, I would say there's some bestsellers that are perfectly amazing books, like The Road by Cormac McCarthy. That has a very, literary aspect to it, and it was a bestseller. So I feel like the wording here is a little bit misleading, but I think you know where I'm coming from. Okay, question 5. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? No, man, I don't care about that stuff. I'm trying to think. Have I? No, I don't think so. I've never been in a situation like that. I've never been surrounded by snobs, book snobs like this, I guess, to where I felt the need to, oh, yes, of course I've read that. No, never been in that kind of situation. All right, question 6. Do audiobooks count as reading? What about comics or graphic novels? Yeah, I would say they do. It's a different experience, though. Reading is a much more active experience. And when you are listening to a book, it's a passive experience. So you often have to really force yourself to pay attention because, typically you're doing something else. You're walking, you're driving, you're riding your bike, whatever it is. And so you have to multitask in a way, even though the other aspect might just be a purely physical one, not necessarily a mental one. I love audiobooks. I still think they're reading. It's a different kind of reading, but I feel like you can still enjoy the story. I'd say the things you miss out on are probably things readers don't care about, but people who are into writing like myself are very important, like the white space on a page, the way sentences are constructed, the way they look. The music in the line-by-line writing you often will miss in an audiobook. What about comics or graphic novels? Of course. I have a Saga back here by Vaughn, and it's one of my favorite comics of all time. It's some of the best storytelling I've ever read. So of course they count as reading, as at least the ones that are trying to do something other than defeat the bad guy. Question 7. Have you ever looked down at someone for reading a popular book? Probably. I'm sure people on my Discord server are nodding their heads right now because I've probably said plenty of things on there about looking down on someone for reading a popular book. I'm trying to think if there's been a time where I've been disappointed. To me, I think that's kind of the way I'm trying to look at this question is not so much looked down upon, but like, oh man, you read that and liked that? Ooh, I don't think I can be your friend anymore. And I think that's how I would reword this question. It's like that they liked the book, not just read it, because I've read plenty of books that I hate. So I think the act of reading something in general isn't going to be something I would look down at someone for. So I don't know. Discord people, please illuminate everybody in the comments. You can throw me under the bus. I don't mind. The next question is, have you ever been recipient of someone else's snobbery? Yeah, in the reverse kind of snobbery way, in that like somebody who only reads kind of more mainstreamy stuff, and then I'll be kind of talking about something that's a little bit more highbrow or talking about something, with a bit more depth than a cursory read. Yeah, I've had people roll their eyes and tell me I'm a snob, especially with film. So I love kind of art house, independent films, and I'm pretty picky with storytelling across the board, whatever medium it is. And so I've definitely been considered a snob in that regard. If you consider that snobbery, I do. I don't know if you do, but question 9, are you or would you be friends with a snob? Yeah, sure. I mean, we all have our snobbish aspects, I think. I would say that I'm friends with plenty of people who are the reverse snobs, meaning people who consume more mainstream stuff and then look down or roll their eyes or turn their nose up at the things that I consume. So yeah, of course. Question 10. Are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? And this is going to make me sound like a snob, but yeah, I think so. I think people who are drawn to reading are more sophisticated because you have an exploratory spirit, right? You want to learn new things. You want to dive deep into things. You don't want it just all kind of handed to you on a silver platter. You want to work a little bit for something, right? And I think that means sophistication. I just think the kind of person who has some kind of sophistication about them is going to be drawn to reading. I think that's just part of sophistication. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments though, but those are my thoughts. Now, question 11, the question that should have been in this list the entire time, and I can't believe it's not here. I'm adding it to the list, and please keep it going. If you tag somebody else, I hope you tag somebody else. And question 11 is, am I a snob? Are you a snob? Yes, I'm a snob, okay? I admit it. I am a snob, and it's okay, right? It's okay to express your opinions in a very passionate way about something or some things that you aren't into whatsoever, and in fact, may criticize, okay? Especially someone like me who makes book review videos on YouTube. You can't be a snob to some degree if you're reviewing books, if you're actually reviewing books, because some reviewers out there who say they review books, they're not really reviewing books. But that's for another conversation, everybody. So thanks, Britain, for tagging me and allowing me to publicly admit I am a snob. So the last thing for me to do is tag some people. And I'm going to tag one of the funniest, cleverest snobs, book snobs here on YouTube, on booktube. And that is going to be Carol Wainwright, who reads many books that nobody else here on YouTube is talking about. So go check out his channel. And thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.